Hey, this is Voices for Learning, where we help you grow as a voice actor. My name is Susan. Thanks so much for joining me. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a template in Studio One version 4. So let's say that I want to go ahead and create a podcast template because I've just got this crazy idea to do a podcast. So this is exactly what I need in my podcast when I record it. I just need a raw track for my voiceover. I need a mastered track for my voiceover, and I need a intro music track. This is all I need. This is what I want for my template. So every time I go back and record a new podcast, this is what I want to see. So the way that you create the template with exactly this is you just do a file and save as template. So the title is going to come up right here, and this is just where you're going to name it whatever you want to name it. I'll name mine podcast template. Whoa. And that's it. Okay, and there we go. So here we go. Let's say I've recorded a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm going to save this as my very first podcast. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. Do I want to save for sample 2? Sure. Okay, so the next time I create a podcast, like next week, I've created a new podcast, I want to get back into my template. The way that you do that is just create a new song, and right here on the new song window that pops up, you're going to see all your templates that you've saved. The top one, empty song, is just the default one that Studio One automatically gives you. And you can see right down here at the bottom, because it's the last one that I did, is my podcast template. So I'm just going to click on that, and then make sure you give it a name. Now just here's like kind of like a little bonus tip. The timestamp that Studio One automatically gives you in the name, I think, is actually a pretty nifty thing. I recommend keeping the timestamp in the name of all of your files, especially when you get to the point where you're getting a lot of scripts per day and you're doing a lot of work in a day. What I kind of notice is that my clients are not nearly as organized as I am. Sometimes I get scripts in that just say like script or script version 2 or Toyota or something like that. Like it's completely non-descriptive, and I really have no benchmark as to like what actually it is. So if you keep the timestamp in the name of the actual song, you can at least go and find it, because you can ask your client if they're requiring a revision or something like that. You can at least say, when did I do it for you? And they can say, oh, you know, delivered it on March 30th or whatever. And you can run a quick search for March 30th that can get you back into your song that you did for that day. So I recommend keeping the timestamp in the name. I'll just go ahead and call this podcast. Let's say it's like my second podcast that I've ever done. I'll just keep that, and then just make sure that you save it in the correct folder. I'll hit OK. And there it is. So I am ready to go. The only thing that I don't like about this template is that if you'll notice here on the song track, it's actually not muted. So if I were to start recording, I would hear the music, and maybe that like might be annoying. So I'm just going to mute that. And then let's say that also I decide that I want to go ahead and have a guest, like a regular guest on my podcast. Well, I would need probably a second track for that guest. And so, of course, to get yourself a new track, if you want to duplicate like the raw track, you just right click on where it says raw in the blue part, duplicate track. And what that does is it keeps all of like your compression levels and your EQ levels and everything, everything you've already done before, it keeps, which is really, really nice. And I'm actually going to name it guest. If I am going to have a guest on my podcast, and I'll name this top one Susan. So I know that this is my track, this is my guest track, and this is just when I've mixed it all together. And then, of course, down here is my music track. But I think I want to mute my guest track, because when I start it up, I just want it to be mute. So this is exactly how I want it. I want to go ahead and save over my podcast template. This is sort of like my new and improved podcast template. So to save over, it's just File, Save as Template again. This time, though, what you're going to do, instead of putting a title in, we're actually going to replace the existing podcast template. So you just click on Replace Existing. And here is the podcast template. So you just click on that, open, and hit OK. And that's it. And now your template is ready to go forever and ever and ever until you change it. So that's that. I hope you learned something. I just showed you how to create a template in Studio One 4 and how to replace it if you ever need to. I have a very exciting news about Studio One. If you are a beginner in Studio One and you want to learn how to just quickly go into Studio One, record. There is a course on A VO's Journey, which you know I am affiliate of. And the course was made by none other than Don Barnes himself, who is the Studio One master. And the course is actually pretty affordable. There's a link in the description. You can just go to that link and check out that course. I highly recommend it. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please like, please subscribe for more content on voice acting, Studio One especially. And I will see you later. Thanks. Bye.